All right, let's do this. Yes, it is earlier than normal. Shoaib Hassan, welcome, and everybody else, William, Arcelia, William again. Yes, welcome everybody. It's another Friday. It's a new live stream day, and it is a little bit different time and a new angle as well. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the new Fire Stick, the Fire Stick Max 4K, and I'll see if maybe I can work my angle just a little better. So you guys can see me in the center of the screen. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the Fire Stick Max 4K today, and kind of doing first looks at it. It's something that just came out. It just hit the market yesterday, and so the question on my mind, and I am going to release a video on this today. The question on my mind is it worth the switch? Okay, so if you've got, say, you're already a Fire Stick user, you've got the Fire Stick 4K or the regular Fire Stick, or Fire Cube or whatever. Is this worth switching to? Because it is a little more expensive than the other models. So that is the question on our minds today. For now, before I get started with that, let's see. Let's get this adjusted. So I'm looking at the chat. I wish I could flip my video, because when I look at the chat, my chat is over here, but I know I'm looking on the wrong side of the screen for you guys. But okay, so Sylvia asks why early. Basically, today I had something scheduled at noon, and it was very difficult to reschedule it. So I had to go a little bit early. Hopefully, it doesn't throw people off too much. I apologize if it does, but you know, I don't know how to say this to you guys. I don't know how to tell this to you. I don't know how to admit this, but I don't necessarily only live stream. I have I can't even do it with a straight face. I have other stuff I got to do. So yeah, we're going just a little bit early so I can make a noon meeting. For me, I'm on Mountain Time, so it's about 11 o'clock for me now. Anyway, glad to see you all here. Um, what is a fire stick? Asks William. Should I have my fire extinguisher at hand? Nice. Okay, so yeah, and Darian's saying looking to upgrade yours. So yeah, we will get there. Yeah, we'll talk all about that. Up on the screen right now behind me, I do have the 4K Max pulled up on screen. But uh, first of all, how dare you? Why I would never. Why would I ever do that? Okay, let's just put the screen over here. That'll make it a little easier. Okay, so yeah, let's see, new changes. You can see a little bit more of the studio now. You guys know the parable of the woodcutters, where the one guy is like, how he says to the other guy, you don't seem to work as hard, how do you get so much more done? And the other guy says, well, I spend time sharpening my axe, so I cut wood faster. This week was my axe sharpening week. You ever get in that headspace, you can't take it anymore. You're tired. You're burned out. Whatever. Here, let's bump up my mic a little bit. Sorry about that. Hopefully that doesn't now blow out your speakers. But yeah, you ever get in that headspace and you feel like you need to change? I get that pretty often, and it's been over a year since I changed the configuration here in the studio. So I switched the desk around. You can see by this bright white light that I'm sitting right in front of a window now, where I used to be back in that corner right under the TV. But now you can kind of see the TV over my shoulder. Okay. Let's see. Anything else I need to check out here? Hello from IKEA in Miami. The LED bulbs arrived. That's fantastic. Welcome, Joe. Really glad to have you. First of all, IKEA it's like my amusement park. We take the kids there. They get super excited. They get super hyped because we get super hyped. And we're like, we're going to go have dinner at IKEA because they love to have the meatballs. And we like to wander around and pretend we're buying furniture. I don't know. I love IKEA. And I also like Miami. I've been to Miami once now for one day. And it was a lovely day, I have to say. It was great. So, hello, Joe, and congratulations on the bulbs. Speaking of which, right up here, you can see the weekly giveaways. Please go check out the giveaway page. Because this is a weird week, as you know, the timing is all out of whack and everything. But because this is a weird week, we're going to extend last week's giveaway another week. So if I pull it up here, reviews.org/giveaways, it is still the Disney Plus subscription. So a 1 year subscription to Disney Plus. This is something uh, that you can win even if you already use Disney Plus. So don't worry about that. Please don't be shy. Head to the giveaways page. In fact, I'll go ahead and put that up here for you. Okay. So back to the Fire Stick stuff. Darian says, I have the Fire Stick 4K, so probably not upgrading depending on how the max is. Okay, good to know. So stick around because I am going to talk about that. There's a new Fire Stick 4K for 33, but it's not. So the one that's $33. In fact, I think I saw it yesterday listed at 30 now on Amazon. But it's not the 4K Max. So it's not a new Fire Stick 4K. It is the Fire Stick 4K model that we've had for the last year or two. So so yeah, that's not a new Fire Stick 4K for $33. That's the last gen. The new one, the 4K Max, goes for, was it $55? I think they're retailing it for. There's going to be deals, of course. We're in October. So if during our discussion today, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to get the Fire Stick 4K Max, then just wait. Just, give it some time. Give it till Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever. If you can. If you need it now, you need it now. But I'm sure they'll shave a few bucks off when the holiday shopping really begins in earnest. So let's see. Somebody just said, okay. So sorry, I'm reviewing some of these comments you guys have on here. Ha ha ha. And somebody said, Arcelia said, NFL Sunday tickets going to Apple TV. I haven't heard that yet. As of right now, Amazon is still the front runner from the last I heard. But if you have any news stories that came out today, please link them. I'd love to see them. I just didn't see anything this morning when I looked. Let's see what else. Does having a Roku TV with a Fire Stick break some kind of bro code or multiverse rule? No, it doesn't. And I've put this seriously to the test. Okay, so right here, I've got my Roku remote. Okay, so this handles my Roku TV behind me. Now, I've got 3 Fire TV remotes here. Let's see. This is, I had to label them, otherwise they get confused. Okay, so we've got the 4K, whatever. There it is. Okay, so that's the 4K one. I've got the Fire TV Cube here, and then the new 4K Max. So this one, obviously easier to tell the difference because it's got the 2nd-gen remote. Yeah, so and I've got all 3 of these hooked in. We can kind of play around with them. You can see it behind me. I can actually later on in the stream, maybe I can take my phone and use my phone to stream, and we can walk over and take a little closer look. But you can kind of see it behind my shoulder. Anyway, so does it break any multiverse rules? Apparently not. We're all still here. Nothing has melted down. But yeah, I had to pull out the tape and label them because once I got 3 of them plugged in, I was like, all right, I'm confused. So, and I kept using the wrong remote. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go to, the regular Fire Stick. Oh, okay, silence. So, okay, good. I got the right remote. So here's what I wanted to test. As I'm going through here, what I want to see is when I press the button, how long does it take to shift? So how long does the click take to actually happen on the device? Okay. And then the other thing is, as I'm navigating the menu, how quickly does the picture populate? Are we having any issues there? So there are a couple of things that the new 4K Max does over the old 4K. And so they've got some upgrades to the CPU, the GPU, and the RAM. The CPU being the central processing unit, kind of the overall speed of the machine. The GPU is the graphics processing unit, and then the RAM is the memory. So another indicator of speed. I mean, they all are. and they all got a bump. So the CPU went from 1.7 to 1.8 gigahertz, the GPU 650 to 750 megahertz, and then the RAM got a pretty big bump from 1.5 gigabytes to 2 gigabytes on the new 4K Max. So what that all means, I know that's a lot of numbers and stuff, but what that all means is that when I click, it should move faster. If I get to a title, or I want to go to an app, this is really fun trying to navigate here in my computer monitor. Okay, so let's say I want to open up Netflix. Okay, so you can kind of see that, like, when I get to another app, you can see it takes a little while to populate titles there. Here, you know what? Let me get rid of this weird line. Okay, yeah, we're gonna hide that for a minute. You can see it. Yeah, it takes a little while for the thumbnails to populate. I apologize. I know it's super blurry, but yeah, you kind of still get a sense of what's going on there. So this is the regular 4K. Now I'm going to say the word click as I click, and we'll see how long it takes to shift on the menu. So down, over, click, click, click. So it's about a quarter second, not a half second delay, but maybe like a quarter second delay. If I go up to, say, I want to go to settings. Yeah, you can see, like, it's plenty good. It's fine, but it does take a hot second. So now let's go ahead and close that out and go over to the new Fire Stick 4K. I think I got this right. Yeah. All right. So on the Fire Stick 4K, click, 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 click. Yeah, there's almost no delay at all. It's populating. The thumbnails are populating faster. The screen scroll is much smoother. Let's see. Okay, if we go, how fast is it? Yeah, it populates more quickly. Sorry, that's the other thing that it does is so it's not just the internal mechanics of the device that determine how quickly these things populate. Like when I come over here to, Disney Plus, or, whatever apps on here, and it's populating those, that also depends on your internet connection. And the new 4K Max is Wi-Fi 6 compatible. That's one of the big upgrades. So if you have a newer router, then it's going to make a huge difference as far as how quickly content populates. And so when you actually get to something, so if we pop into Disney Plus, yeah, this is so much faster than the regular 4K. It's amazing, actually. So when you do, oh shoot, I haven't logged in yet. I probably haven't logged into anything on this yet. When you do go into, say, Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, you find a title you want to watch and you hit the play button. How long does it take to buffer that, to get that playing for you? And if you have a Wi-Fi 6 router and a Wi-Fi 6 device like this one, it makes a huge, huge difference. So anyway, so yeah, so far so good. Now my question is, this thing retails for $55. Is it like what's the difference between this and the Fire Cube? Because the Fire Cube, that's a whole different beast altogether. And I'm sorry, I will get to your comments in just a moment. Right now, I'm just kind of going to make my way through this so that then we can talk about it. So can see Fire Cube. Yeah, I think that's on that input. Okay, good. Fire Cube. Okay, good. So when we get to the Fire Cube, yeah, that populates really quickly. Click, 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 click. Interesting. Now, this Fire Cube, Fire TV Cube, whatever the official name is, this one is actually brand new as well. And so this one, click, click, click. Yeah, it has a little bit of a delay. It's not as severe as the Fire Stick 4K, the Gen 1 or whatever we want to call it version. So the delay is not as severe, but it's not as seamless as the 4K Max. So even the Fire Cube feels just a little bit laggier than the 4K Max, which is I was surprised by. I kind of found this out last night as I was testing things out and comparing them. Yeah, so I was pretty surprised by that. I don't know what you guys think, but again, I know it's kind of hard to see it over my shoulder, but all right. So that kind of tells us the basics of what we're looking at here. Um, all right, let's see. How many iCubes are there? I don't know. I don't know what an iCube is. Oh, okay. Does it hold more memory for added apps? So I assume what you mean is storage space. It does not. It still has 8 gigs of storage. So storage space is still an issue if that's an issue for you. And it definitely would be if you are, maybe you're a gamer or you like to, you know, put local media on there. I mean, you're not going to get much unless it's, photos and music, maybe not many movies. But anyway, so no, it does not upgrade the storage space on the 4K Max. Let's see. What are hidden extra features? That's a great question. So, wow, two good questions. Are you new here? I don't think I've seen your name here, and you've had two great questions in a row. I much appreciate that. Welcome, Ms. Roney. So, what are the hidden extra features? There's not much actually. So, when you when you get the regular 4K, the Fire Stick 4K, you're still getting 4K HDR. What's the Dolby Vision? All that stuff. So picture quality wise, you're not seeing a bump. That all applies to the previous gen, as well as obviously the Fire Stick 4K Max. But it does do one thing that you previously could only do with the Cube, and that is picture in picture with your other Amazon devices. So I don't know, maybe it would work with other things, but I'm thinking specifically of like the Ring doorbell. So Ring is an Amazon brand now. They bought them a few years ago. Excuse me. Anyway, and so if you've got a Ring doorbell, you're sitting there watching TV, somebody rings the doorbell, then the picture in picture will pop up on your screen. And then you can elect to speak with that person through the Fire Cube. You can, or whatever. So, or you can just ignore it, right, and tell it to go away. But that feature was not available on any Fire TV devices other than the Cube, but it is available now on the Max. Yeah. So there's so many devices now. Like my brain is melting trying to keep all these names in line. So, other than that, let's see. I'm trying to think if they advertised any other special or hidden features, and I don't think so. It's very, very similar to the last device, the regular 4K. It's just plain faster. Um, so that gets us to the question that somebody asked earlier, and I apologize. Oh yeah, okay. So Darian said I have the Fire Stick 4K, so probably not upgrading depending on how the Max is. So I'm releasing a video on this a little bit later today. Now that I've had, gosh, what's it been? A little over 12 hours to play with it. I'll release a video on it today. And my bottom line on this is it is noticeably better than the 4K. The 4K Max is noticeably better than the 4K. Um, but if you've got the 4K and you're fine with it, it's if it's not actively bugging you, the lag time on it, don't worry about it. Maybe skip this generation or something. If you are being bugged by it, or maybe you've got the Fire Stick Lite or the regular Fire Stick that does 1080p and you're looking to make a jump. If you are like if you're in that situation, even if you've got the latest 4K, but it's just that lag is kind of bugging you a little bit because you're on your Fire Stick all the time, then yeah, it's probably going to be worth it. But it's yeah, I guess bottom line for me is it is noticeably better, but it doesn't but that doesn't mean noticeably better doesn't mean like infinitely better. And if somebody said, "Yeah, I'm going to skip this one," I'm not going to argue with that for sure. So I don't know. I know that's kind of wishy washy, but that's kind of, I'm trying to convey that I feel a little bit wishy washy on this one. So hello, Janet, and hello to everybody else. Can you add more apps? So I think this is, well, we kind of addressed this. Is this what you're talking about? Like, does it have more storage space for more apps? It does not. Let's see. Let's see. Well, okay. So I apologize. I'm trying to catch up with your comments here. You can't say turn on the TV. And that's true. Um, that's true. With the Fire Cube, you have hands-free activation of her. That sounded wrong, didn't it? Um, so you can't do that. But uh, yeah, that is one thing that the Fire Cube has. If you really like having hands-free, and sometimes that is nice, then yeah, you can't do that with the 4K Max. Are all Fire Cubes the same? There is a second gen. So there was a first generation came out years ago. The second gen came out, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe. Um, and so there are two generations of it, but it looks the same, it smells the same, it feels the same. It's just kind of like the 4K Max, new and improved guts on the inside. Okay, so if I want the best streaming device, do I go with the 4K Max or the Cube? Which one is more powerful? That is a very difficult question to answer. The 4K, or sorry, the Fire Stick. This is killing me, you guys. The Fire TV Cube. Okay, because there's the Fire Stick Lite, the Fire Stick 4K, the Fire Stick 4K Max, and the Fire TV Cube. There's just so much to keep track of. The Cube has two processors, um, and one of them is basically to run the device, or the streaming capabilities that we're used to, and then it has another smaller processor for running Alexa. So because of that, like you look at the specs on it and it's like, oh my gosh, it's got, I think it's like where the 4K Max is 1.8 gigahertz CPU. I'm trying to remember. I think the Cube has a 1.8 or 1.9 plus a 1.3 for Alexa. So it's got a few like extra guts inside of it, you might say. And so it's supposed to be more powerful, but as we kind of saw just a few minutes ago, it actually has more of a lag than the 4K Max. Not a ton, and it's the kind of lag that wouldn't really bug me, but when you compare it to how responsive the 4K Max is, it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to walk away from the 4K Max with its complete lack of lag. It really is pretty sweet. So yeah, as I'm clicking through here on the 4K Max, it's that the lag time is low if you kind of feel like, I just think about clicking the button and it moves really quickly. You can see how smooth the video goes. Yeah, it's just better, you guys. It really is. So depends. I guess it depends, Darian. If you really want hands free, then maybe go with the Cube. But all right, let me throw another wrinkle into this. I've said for a while that I don't like the Cube because I can get the Fire Stick 4K and an Echo Dot for cheaper than I would get the Cube. And then you've got two devices, and that's essentially the same thing. That's what the Cube is, right? It's a Fire Stick plus an Echo Dot put together. That's the Cube. But I will say that even an Echo Dot, the really pretty cheap device, I think they go for what, like, I don't know, 35, $40. I haven't looked lately. But if you get an Echo Dot, then you can do something like listen to music on it. Technically, you can do that with the Fire TV Cube, but you shouldn't because it sounds terrible. Even Alexa's voice is not very good. Like it's very tinny. The sound quality is awful. And so it functions as a hub, so you can give commands, but getting it to play something back to you is a little bit of a painful experience on the Cube. Whereas if you have an Echo Dot, it's like, I'm not saying, it's not a Sonos speaker or anything, but it sounds a lot better than the Cube does. So usually what I recommend for people is that they get the stick plus a dot if you want that hands-free technology. That's my advice. I think it's still a little bit cheaper to go that way. Um, so downside is you've got one more thing to plug in, so it takes another wall socket. Maybe that's not a concern for most people, but I guess yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to manage around here. So let's see. So Seth's using Roku. Absolutely fine choice. I've been a Roku user for years. Let's see. Somebody said, where to $55? Too much for the max. Okay. So, and that's the thing is, like I was saying earlier, yeah, $55 may sound like quite a bit, and it is. I mean, for a streaming device like this. However, the performance that I'm getting out of this, just in my initial setup, in my first few hours of using it, the performance that I'm getting out of it does justify it, um, to a certain extent. It may not justify it enough that, like, if you just bought a Fire Stick for $40 3 months ago, you probably don't need to spend another 55 now. But if it's been a couple years since you bought a streaming device and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know, do I get the $40 thing or the $55 thing? It's worth spending a little bit of extra money to future proof yourself and to have a device that won't end up driving you crazy in the long run. So, um, all right. So, Jen, this is a great question. The Cube is the only device we can use our voice to turn on the TV, right? Yes, sort of. It depends on your TV. It depends on your setup, but you can actually, like I was talking about earlier, if you get the stick plus a cube, like you can see. Right, let's see if I can point to it. Right there. Tickle it a little bit. That's my Echo Studio. So I've got that one, and it is hooked up, like, via the ether, right? It's hooked up to my Roku TV, so I can tell her to turn on and off the TV. I can tell her to open up whatever app on my Roku TV, and obviously, once I plug in a Fire Stick, I can connect those two and tell her to turn on the Fire Stick, and she'll do that. So you don't have to have the cube to do hands-free voice commands. That you are cutting a device out of the equation, which may be worth it to some people, but no, it is not absolutely necessary. Let's see, Becky, I hope we answered your question. $55 retail right now. Hopefully around the holidays it'll start dropping just a little bit. I don't imagine it'll go down to $35 the way the regular 4K model is now, but yeah, I assume around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they'd knock $5 or $10 off the price to make it a little more enticing. Um, let's see. Is it worth getting if more programming is not in 4K? Well, I mean, depend on what you mean by more programming. Like, how much programming do you need in 4K? Like, how important is it to you to have 4K content? Um, I, for me, it's. I know I'm harping on this. I know, I get it, but the speed, and this. How do I put this? I know I'm stumbling over myself a little bit here, but I want to qualify this correctly. I know that this could be the reviewer's curse, where like I'm somebody who spends so much time with streaming devices that the little things do start to bug me a little bit. If that's not the case for you, then this might not be worth it. But I would say even outside of the 4K content, just the speed of the device is a game changer. So I shouldn't say game changer. It's a rung up the ladder. So let's see. They also have male voices available in case you want something, I don't know, masculine, dusky. I don't know. Can we use dusky for men's voices? Let's see. I have the Roku in my bedroom, but I like the Fire Stick 4K much better, says Sherry. Sherry? I don't know. Sherry? If we were in France, it would be Cherie. So I'm going with that one. Yeah, hey, everybody has their preference. If there's one thing that I dislike, and I really do, it drives me crazy. This is my home screen, right? And on the home screen, you have a giant ad right up top, and then you move down to your stuff, and it's got my list, but then add right there. Oh man, if I want to get to anything else, I got to go through another ad. So I do dislike how prominent the ads are on Fire TV's interface, but I mean that's my big complaint if I'm being honest. It makes the screen really cluttered. Um, but they do a lot of things really well. In fact, Cherie, I'm going with Cherie. If you haven't checked out the Tech Hive column today from Jared Newman, he talks about Roku, what Roku needs to do to improve. And I'm going to do a video on this. I'm kind of I'm a little miffed that he beat me to it. I'm miffed with myself that he beat me to it. But I want to do a video on what Roku needs to do better to catch up to the likes of Fire Stick, because I think Fire TV, Google TV, Apple TV, they've all kind of leapfrogged um, Roku in terms of what they're able to do with their interface, and I would like to see more from Roku. So I'm with you. All right. Okay. So I apologize. I know I'm missing a bunch of stuff from you guys, but yeah, my apologies. Okay. Okay. On Box Walmart has better and cheaper choice for a basic person, not very techy. It's 30 bucks worth it. I did a review of both of those devices. I would definitely say the On Box might be worth it for somebody who's looking for an ultra cheap device. But the thing is, right now, the Fire Stick 4K, which is much better than the On Box, is also 30 bucks. So it's kind of hard to justify that. But I will say the On Stick, it's not worth it to anybody. 25 bucks for a near worthless device, or 30 bucks for a passable one. Get the passable one for sure. Okay. Let's see. I use my Xbox One to stream movies. All right. Well, maybe we should go check out my streaming setup here for just a moment. Okay. Oops. Fire Stick versus Mi Box, which is better? Good question. Now, the Fire Stick Max, the 4K Max, definitely better. If you're talking about the base model Fire Stick, then probably go with the Mi Box. If it's the regular Fire Stick 4K, it's probably a toss up. But the 4K Max is definitely better. Okay. So Darian is you're my spirit animal today. You're saying what's inside. Having 7 devices, all doing the exact same thing, and yet still buying them. Well, that's true. Uh, but I feel like I kind of have to buy them to keep up with all this stuff. So, okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to this. I hope this doesn't like wig out the stream here. Okay. We're going to open this up. Okay, so I'm going to join the stream here. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, let's turn that down. Okay. Watch this. You ready for some streamception? Okay. Oh. That's loud. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I feel like I'm. Is it getting like super echoey? So I'm going to do this so I can show you guys my new streaming setup. Okay, so mute that. Unmute. Oh boy, that is loud. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that is echoing. Okay. Is it echoing still? It's fine. Okay, good. Okay, it's not freaking out. So I thought I'd show you guys this just because I thought it was fun. So yeah, you can kind of get a look at the studio. I have to use blankets as curtains because I'm too cheap to actually just go buy curtains. But okay, so if I flip this around, there we go. All right, so new streaming setup. All right, so we got the TV up here in the corner, playing its thing. But I'm pretty proud of this. We've got the new streaming setup here. I told you we've got the Echo Studio here for sound purposes, the Roku Ultra, the new Apple TV 4K, the NVIDIA Shield Pro, and the Fire TV Cube next to the PS4. Because you know what? I am just not very rich, and I haven't been able to justify. What are they? People are charging like $800-900 for the PS5, so haven't been able to do it yet. So, all right. So let's see what. Awesome man cave, says Donald. Yeah, it's so I built this, and in fact I can kind of show you. It's so there's the house out the window by the computer. I built this out in my backyard. When I moved into this house, I had there was a wood shop out here that hadn't been used in years and years. And I tore it down to the concrete pad and just built this in its place so that I could have a place to go and make podcasts, make YouTube videos, all that stuff. So, Jacob, I appreciate the love for the beard. I will say it is not a nice beard, but that's nice of you to say. It's very patchy. But you know what? If I'm not that hairy a guy, I'm not going to complain too much. So, all right. So there you go. There's a little. You can have a little idea of what the streaming setup is. And yeah, and get a little studio tour in the meantime. I can also show you so back in this corner, this is where all my books are. Got a lot of I do a sci-fi and fantasy book podcast. There we go. So yeah, corner full of books, camera equipment, treadmill, the works. So somebody was saying how long did it take? How long did it take for me to build this? I assume you mean it took me about 4 or 5 months. Obviously working like nights and weekends, but it was over the winter in Utah, so that was an adventure. Trying to get this thing built in the snow. So yeah, that was fun. Ooh, I like this. Okay, dumb question alert. Do I really need a VPN if I jailbreak a Fire Stick? If so, which one do you recommend? I recommend usually I usually recommend one of the big VPNs. Do you need one? I mean, that's up to you. If you're jailbreaking a Fire Stick, that I don't know what you're going to do with it, but an extra layer of security might not hurt. So a VPN might not hurt. Yeah, I usually recommend one of the big ones that you need to pay for. Why do I say that? There are free VPNs out there, but the free ones, if it's a free VPN, they're probably just collecting your data, right? They're telling you, hey, don't let the big guys collect your data. Use this VPN, but they're just collecting your data and selling it. So, and sometimes for nefarious reasons, more so than just making a few bucks selling some data. So yeah, if it's a free VPN, I generally say stay away. And so go with the big guys, the Nord VPNs, the Express VPNs, the whatever. Yeah, that's my general recommendation. Okay, let's see if we can add me back to the stream the other way. Okay, hang on. Yeah. All right. I think that's working again. All right. I apologize if I did not see your speakers or your speaker question. So yeah, you're more than welcome to submit that again. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything on here. So, I don't know who Stephen Amell is, but I'm looking it up. Stephen Amell. Ooh, it's with a PH apparently. Canadian. Of course he's Canadian. All actors are Canadian. Oh, he's Arrow? Is that right? Yeah, okay. I wish I looked like that guy. That'd be great. That's a handsome man. I'm gonna go with a little bit like Stephen Amell means I remind you of Stephen Amell, but you'd rather look at Stephen Amell, and that's perfectly fine. Okay. Um, a man cave that's a workspace is a plus. Absolutely. It's mostly a workspace. And I built this, I want to say, what year is this? 2021? So I think I built this 3.5 years ago, something like that. Obviously had no idea COVID was going to happen, but when it did, and everybody went to work from home, um, it was a real, it was a real blessing. Sometimes, people would ask, like the reviews.org people or whoever, they'd say like, "Hey, how you doing? Is work from home going okay? Is everything all right? Are you surviving?" And I'd be like, "I'm fine." I had my difficulties like everybody did, but yeah, having a space like this was a huge, huge plus for work from home stuff. Okay. All it's missing is crazy lights. Not missing actually. Okay, everybody, silence your. You may want to mute me for just a second because I'm going to talk to um, Alexa. Turn the studio lights to purple. So yeah, I've got some craziness I can do here. So I've got a few like LED panels. You can see on that bookshelf right there. There's an LED strip that runs behind all those books. So yeah, don't worry. I've got the crazy lights. Okay. Got his ID on his phone. Yeah, that's true. Um, okay. Well, I'm sorry I missed the question from Rojas Tech Reviews, but yeah, I apologize. Ooh, Janet says I'm very handsome. Thank you, Janet. That's so nice. You guys are cracking me up. Stop with the handsome stuff, please. Oh no. Does that mean it's time for me to go? Ha ha ha. Okay. Um, what's new about Fire Stick? So Tyrone, if you missed, I'll recap actually for people who have just joined. Let's do a little recap. Um, what we did earlier in the stream is I pulled up. Let's see, I've got my Fire Stick. Yeah, Fire Stick 4K. The Fire TV Cube. Okay, so we got that remote for the Cube. And then this is the new 4K Max. Okay, so earlier in the stream, we kind of looked at all three of them, how the menus performed, basically. So because this is a live stream and I don't want to get dinged for copyright infringement, I'm not playing any actual content, so we won't do that now. But yeah, we just kind of looked at how quickly the menus moved around, how responsive it was. Hang on, I'm going to talk to her one more time. Alexa, turn the studio lights to daylight. Um, anyway, yeah, that'll help us see the TV just a little bit better. Anyway, so the new Fire Stick is much, much better. Or I should say it's incrementally better, but it is very noticeable. So, how quickly it set up, how quickly it turns on, how quickly it loads screens, how quickly it moves through menus, typing on it, voice searching on it is quicker. So, if I want to watch The Fellowship of the Ring, like the voice search happens much much quicker than it did on previous devices. So this one retails for $15 more list price. Right now, I think it's more like 20 or 25, but it retails for like $15 more than the regular Fire Stick 4K. And in my opinion, if you don't have either and you're looking at the two of them, then the new 4K Max is worth the price bump. If you already have a 4K, you already spent your $40 on that or $50 back in the day, whatever you spent on it, and you don't want to spend extra for this device, that would be perfectly understandable. And yeah, you could probably, excuse me, stick with the regular 4K and be just fine. But I will say this is a noticeable improvement. So, all right. Um, Yeah, just like YouTube, they won't let anybody demonstrate any devices anymore. Well, yeah, it's a matter of copyright. Now, I don't want to. I have content out there on the web that I would not want people to copy without consent. So I get it. I don't want to show copyrighted material, but I do have a device. I was hoping it would come in this morning. It's another purchase off of Amazon because all hail Lord Bezos, right? Um, but it's a device that should, I hope, let me take the screen that you're seeing right there and add it to our stream um, live so that, even if I can't show you content, I can at least go through menus and settings and all that stuff, and we'd be able to see it here on the screen. So hopefully that will, be a little bit of an improvement. All right. So let's see. I am coming up close to when I've got to run for today. So let's see. I'll answer a few more questions. Um, would a cable modem have Wi-Fi 6? It totally depends on the modem, and it's the router I think that would determine that more so. So, yeah, you'll have to check what modem slash router slash combo you're working with, because there's no way to know for sure. Like, I need to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6 at some point. I've got an Eero Pro, but it's a model that's a few years old, so it's Wi-Fi 5 if that's a thing. I think they called it that. But they have a newer model that is Wi-Fi 6 capable. It's just that's even more of an investment than buying streaming devices because I need a hub of 3 of them. So I'd have to shell out like $300 or $400 to get that. So I've been dragging my feet a little bit. So yeah, you'll have to check on your modem router combo to find out what you've got. So let's see, Darian. This is my first live stream of yours. I'm highly enjoying this. Looking forward to checking these out more often. Hey, you know what, Darian? You were great today. Yeah, I really appreciate the participation. It was great to have you. If you've already left, I apologize that I didn't get to this sooner. But yeah, love having new people come in. We do these every week. Normally, it's an hour later than this one was, but I had some stuff I needed to work around today. So let's see. If your TV is 4K, this is a great question. If your TV is 4K, you don't need a 4K streaming device, correct? Incorrect. So here's the rule when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, you can do this with computer equipment and TV equipment and all sort of stuff, but whatever the weakest link is in the chain, that determines your maximum, in this case, picture quality. So if you have a TV that is not 4K and a streaming device that is, you still won't watch anything in 4K because the TV can't output 4K. If your TV, if in this case, as Yvette says, if your TV is 4K and you don't have a 4K streaming device, your TV might try to do some upscaling where it pretends it gets complicated. It doesn't really matter, but it kind of like it tries to turn a 1080p picture into a 4K picture, and they're with mixed results. They're usually not very good at that. It's the whole zoom and enhance thing, right, from movies, where this isn't a real thing that happens in real life. It's same kind of principle. It's not science fiction. So 4K upscaling usually not very good, and in fact, you are still watching in 1080p. It's just pretending it's 4K. So you've got your streaming device, you've got your TV, you've got your cable. You've got to have an HDMI cable that's capable of transmitting at whatever quality you're going for. So every link in that chain needs to be capable of running 4K if you want 4K. I hope that answers that question. So, um, all right. Is it true that a 4K TV upgrades the device you're using to 4K? That's what I'm talking about. 4K upscaling, yes, they do that, but not very well. So don't recommend it. What makes you like Roku over Fire Stick? So, oh boy, now we're getting into it. I'll try to answer this one quickly. For a long time, I've been a Roku fanboy for a long time. I still am, but where it was like everybody else and then Roku for me. Roku is just with everybody else. So there are a lot of things that I still love about Roku, but the problem is that the world of streaming has kind of overtaken Roku, as far as um, uh, usability, I guess. Having really good navigation, really nice, clean menus, good recommendation algorithms. That's one thing that Roku needs pronto. So, but it's kind of a trade-off, right? So Roku's home screen is fabulous in its simplicity, where you go. In fact, let's just pull it up. You go to Roku's home screen, and it's very simple. You've got your apps. What do you want to watch? Well, it's on Apple TV, it's on Disney Plus, whatever. You just go click into the app and there you go. Simple. There's nothing much to it. But there's no up next like you get with other devices. There's no watch list. I mean, you can kind of have a watch list, but not really. So you've got these menu items over here. What Roku really needs to do is, so you've got your home screen. They need to keep that there, but then they need to have like for you or recommendations or whatever. Because when you do go over to something like the Fire Stick, and we could do this with other devices as well, but like I know you guys can't really see this very well at the moment. I apologize. Yeah, look how fast that is. I just clicked the home button; it went right there. So this is my up next, and it's got a lot of my, you know, Prime Video titles and whatnot that I've been watching, but it will also pull stuff in from elsewhere. Apple TV is better at that. Google TV is much better at that. But like this kind of, recommendations. What do you want to watch next? You want to watch some sci-fi movies? Do you want to watch horror movies? Do you want to watch whatever? Having this as a way to browse, kind of Netflix style, having a way to browse through a bunch of different titles is something that Roku is missing. So, do I love Roku still? Absolutely. But do I like it over Fire Stick? Depends on who I'm recommending it to, honestly. Okay. William Mack is looking forward to the marathon. Yeah, I was saying last week, I'm trying to figure out a way to do a marathon stream where, I go for 12 hours in a row or 24 hours in a row. Wouldn't that be fun? I don't know what we'd do, but all right. Do you think Apple will ever release a streaming stick? Their Apple TV box is pretty successful. So having a streaming stick would seem like a no-brainer. I don't know. I know that they're just getting into smart TVs, so getting TVs with Apple TV built into them. As far as the stick goes, yeah, I could see it. It'd be really nice to get Apple TV on a device that doesn't cost $180, or whatever. All right. So yeah, this is a common sentiment. Roku is junk to me, too limited and not open source. But it's exactly for those reasons that I often recommend. I almost always recommend Roku to streaming beginners. So if somebody has just cut the cord, they're thinking about cutting the cord. Maybe it's like a retiree who can't be bothered with new technology or whatever. Roku is so limited, as you say, and not open source. There's no bells and whistles. There's no complexity. It's just easy to use. And I think that's really valuable for some streamers. But if you're a power user, I can see how Roku would not be your jam. All right. The high-end Roku accepts a micro SD card for up to 32 gigs of extra memory. Does this memory, or so when we're talking about memory, gets a little bit confusing because I think what you mean is storage space. So does this storage space help? This few devices have this. Was wondering if it made any real difference. Depends on what you're doing with your device. For most of us, if you're asking this question, I'm assuming, and I could be assuming wrong, but it makes me assume that you're not what we would call a power user. That you're not doing a bunch of gaming on your device. Obviously, with a Roku, you're not doing that. Roku, yeah, not a gaming device. And that is one of the things that people would do with it that would take up extra memory or storage space. See, you've got me doing it now. And so Does it help? Not really, unless you're storing media on it to watch later. So if you get an extra 32 gigs of storage, then you could put some movies on there and have them to watch locally. So Roku has, oh, I think I took it off of this device, but I've got it on the new Ultra. They've got a channel called Roku Media Player. Yeah, there it is. I do have it. The Roku Media Player. So if you have something stored locally on that card, then or a USB device or something, then you can play them here on your Roku. So yeah, you can do that. But like I say, it kind of just depends on what you want to do with it. Most non-power users aren't going to need to worry about that. Okay. 72 hour marathon. Oof. No. Okay. All right, guys. I've got to run, so I'm just double checking. And so I will say this: if you go on our channel, I have done 6. What did I call it? Like 6 tips and tricks for Roku. So you can go check out a few. They're pretty basic, So if you've been around streaming, you might not be surprised by any of them, but probably 1 or 2 would surprise you. So yeah, go check out that video. And I should probably do another one of those sometime soon. Don't forget, we are extending last week's giveaway just because this is a weird week and because I started a little earlier than normal. So go to reviews.org/giveaways. I will link to that one more time. You can enter to win a 1-year subscription to Disney Plus. And if you already have Disney Plus, that is okay. You can still win and we will still take care of you. So yeah, so no worries there. Let's see. Yvette, can't believe that I'm enjoying this as much as I am. You're doing a very good job. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just knowledgeable. We should do a session on VPNs. I should get Juan on to do VPNs. So if you're not familiar with the channel, we have several different contributors. I handle a lot of the streaming stuff. Tashaka does mobile technology, cell phone plans and cell phones. Steve does smart home and home security devices, and Juan does internet related stuff. So, connections, VPNs, routers, that sort of thing. So yeah, maybe I should do a session with him, talk about VPNs. And that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, I appreciate all the newcomers and those of you who have been with us on these live streams for a while. It's really great to have you. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get out there, do some good streaming, enjoy yourselves. Let me know how it goes next week. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. And I will, I'll see you